Hello, community. My name is Catherine Jura. I am a community health educator, and I am your host for this podcast. I created Hello Community in response to the current epidemic of social isolation and loneliness that is being reported across the world and the United States. 1 out of every 2 Americans says they are lonely. And prolonged loneliness can lead to physical and emotional illness. It can make chronic illnesses worse, and it can lead to early death. But the good news is that social connection and community are significant healing factors for this epidemic. So my guests will be sharing their stories of how they created social connection and community for themselves. So let me introduce you to our guests today. As you've been watching and listening, you know I generally have one guest, and today I have 4, the Peters family. This is really exciting. So welcome Sue Peters and Justin. Sam, Justin the dad, and Jared. I'm so bad with... No, Lucas. Oh, forgive me. Forgive me. Okay, so I always begin with how we met. So Sue's family and my family grew up next to each other, and I have a son that's about Sue's age. And we knew each other about 10 years, many years ago.
Right.
And then Justin moved away, you moved away, and then we met at a social event about a year ago. And then I started following you on Facebook. And there were all these posts about Scouts. And it all looked so much fun and community. And so I reached out to Sue and said, tell me about what it is about for you folks. And so what I learned is, and this is very exciting, is that for the boys, Justin and his brother Jared were in the Scouts. So for the boys, you are a second generation in your dad's family line of Scouts. And then Sue's mom and Sue, and now you boys are the 3rd generation of Scouts in your mom's line, which is just, so I thought to myself, what's going on here with the Scouts? Why is this so cool? Why do you boys want to be doing this? And why did your mom and your mom's mom want to do this? So why don't we start with, what do you love about being in the Scouts? Why don't we start with you, Sue?
Well, for me, I've been in Scouts when I was a small child. I did brownies and juniors and cadets and seniors. I did it for many years. I quit for a few years in between and came back. It connected me with a group of other girls who I probably wouldn't have connected with otherwise. So I was with this group of people, and we could be ourselves together. There were no, cool kids and not cool kids. We were all just ourselves in a small group. And so I think that was a good way to bond with people that I normally wouldn't have bonded with. I learned really neat skills that I still use. I learned a lot of outdoor stuff. For me, it was Girl Scouts. That's what I was in. We can talk more about genders and Scouts later. Yep. But growing up for me, it was Girl Scouts. But we still learned, I think people think Girl Scouts, cookies, baking, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My Girl Scouts did a lot of outdoor activities. We did a lot of camping, fire building, cooking over fires. So just learning these skills in my family, when I got to be an adult and have my own family, I wanted to instill these skills in my kids. I wanted them to love nature. I wanted them to love community and people that they normally wouldn't bond with. And it's good character building as well. So I think that's been the most important thing for me. I remember saying when I was in my 20s, before I had kids, someday I'd love to be a Scout leader. So I always kind of knew I'd come back to it.
Interesting. Before we move on, what was it for you as a young person that when you just shared that it felt very safe to be ourselves? Do you know why that community helped you feel that way?
Well, I think when you have a smaller group of girls, it's easier to get to the space of being goofy around each other. There's that age when you're like 12, 13-ish, and you're all of a sudden, you really care about what you look like, how you behave. He's on the cusp of that right now as a boy, but, for girls, for me, just being around other girls and not having to worry about what people thought when they looked at me, and it wasn't about that. It was about just doing these activities together. We had a lot of sleepovers. It was nice to be able to just be a goofy kid still. When you go to school and you're that age, you have to be, perfect. You have to try to be perfect in your own mind. So I'm really glad that I had that for myself at that time.
So something about the small group, but was there also sort of an unexpressed something in the culture of the group or the leaders in the group that said you can be yourself here?
I think so.
Yeah.
We had great leaders who really just nurtured all of us. Whereas in school, I think sometimes maybe certain kids get more attention. I was quiet. I was not a problem in class. I tried to just keep my head down, do my work, not raise my hand much. But when I was at Scouts, I could talk freely.
Interesting.
The leaders wouldn't just pick like one or two people that they let. It was like all of us. We would take turns, and it was more collaborative, I think, with our leadership. So.
Wow, that's really great. Mm-hmm. So Sam, would you like to say a word or two about why you like the Scouts?
Yeah. Why I like it is because we get to go on adventures with our community.
Oh.
And we also get to camp, we get to play games, we get to learn new skills, and learn to work with friends as a team.
And you like that? Yeah.
Yes.
And can you relate to your mom's story? Like, do you feel like you can just be yourself in your troop?
Yeah.
That must feel really good. Yeah. Okay, would your dad like to share a little bit about why are you doing this for the second generation?
Yeah, it's actually very odd to be, an adult doing it now, because I had such a good time, during my scouting experience as a child, young adult. I started a little late, so my brother and I had a little bit of catching up to do, because, you have your ranks, your requirements, to try to build towards your eagle. It's building on your past accomplishments to try to get to that end goal. But to piggyback on what Sue said, it was a safe space from, maybe some of those social pressures at school, that kind of thing, to be able to meet these group of, a wide range of kids, age-wise, to all be doing, common things, and having a good time where, again, you wouldn't normally be hanging out with all these kids from, different backgrounds, different, different ages, social circles, but everybody was, they're accomplishing the same thing, same goals, so those certain kids that maybe you wouldn't necessarily hang out with at school because of, age or social, circles. It was a very good community that you go to, and you look forward to it. I mean, I always look forward to it every week. And there was a lot of, discipline as far as, you had your requirements, your, things that you had to do, but everybody was a collaborative effort to come together, and for, not so much for the Cub Scouts, because it's a lot of the parent-led stuff, but for the Scouts BSA, the young adult stuff that was more Scout-led. So we all had a part in making it a good experience for everybody.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So would you agree with Sue that there was something about the created environment of your troop that created safety to be whoever you were?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And then what I think you said was there was something you were working on, that it didn't matter who you were, where you came from, you didn't say this, but I assume what color skin you were, no matter what all the things that can make us different, the activity made you all the same.
Yeah.
The activity brought you together, and nobody looked at each other as what they look like on the outside. You were working on what's going on in the inside to make this activity.
Right.
So-
And again, it was a community effort as far as, I'm working on my own requirements, my own goals, but everybody else is working on their own requirements, their own with them. I may have already done that, and I can help them out with that because I've been through that. This is how I did it. What are your ideas on how you want to accomplish those goals?
As a leader, or back when you were a young one?
Back when I was a young
But
one,
when you
because
were
they're, because you're varying ages, varying ranks, like everybody went through those same requirements, same badges, you've already seen that. So like, hey, this is how we accomplish this. What's your idea? Maybe we can, you can piggyback on what I did, or you have your own new ideas, that kind of thing.
So you might be working on different badges, but the commonality was working on badges.
Right.
And then you might be working on different ones, but then you could come over and say, hey, I worked on that. Can I help you with that maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah.
And those different ages, you were able to reach out either above or below your age range to, get ideas and, really work together. And it was a really good experience.
So after we have Lucas, yay! Share. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about being leaders versus being scouts, and then the way it's set up these days. So Lucas, would you like to share with us what you love about being in the Scouts?
At first, I was quiet and I didn't know a ton of people because they all went to a different school than me. But then, as the years went on, I got to know them better, and I could hang out with them and be goofy around them. And I speak out loud more, and I do more stuff with them. And I go on new adventures, activities, and I can just hang out with them, and I got to know them more.
And that feels good, sounds like. Yeah. Well, that was all really interesting. So why don't we talk a little bit for our listeners and our viewers how the Scouts are different now. Because we heard, most people have heard Boy Scouts can now have girls, and then there's Girl Scouts, and then when I checked in with you about some of the activities I was seeing on Facebook, you said that you wrote back and said, oh, we're in Cub Scouts. I'm like, well, what are Cub Scouts? So why don't we talk about Cub Scouts and then how Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts are different or the same now? Whoever wants to share on that.
Okay, so Cub Scouts is elementary school age kids. So it can start in kindergarten and go all the way through 5th grade.
And everyone's mixed together?
All genders.
All
Yep,
genders and all sexes?
For Cub Scouts, yep.
Okay.
So Sammy started in kindergarten. Lions are the first level. And those, I think, typically are parent-led. So we had a group of kids. How many kids do we have in Lions? 5 or 6?
We had probably 6.
Probably 6. And the parents would take turns doing badge requirements. So we meet once a month, usually in our small dens. That's what they're called. So,
thank you.
So we were the Lion Den that year. And then after that, the next year, one of us had to be the leader. So I took on that role for Sammy's group. And while the kids have changed, we've had some kids that have, kept up every year. We still have a nice group of 5 or 6 kids. Yeah. So it goes Lions. You guys help me with this. Lions, tigers, wolves, bears, Webelos, Arrow of Light. Perfect.
And these are all Cub Scouts?
That's
Yes.
the Cub Scout ranking.
Okay, Cub Scout ranking. Okay.
And then you go to scouting. So So, so right now, Sammy is
A bear.
You're a bear.
And
Scout.
Lucas is
I'm an arrow of light.
Arrow of Light. He's at the top. right now.
Arrow of Light.
Yep.
Scout. Okay, at the top. Getting ready to go into Boy Scouts then? Okay, so then, Boy Scouts.
I'll let Justin talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Scouts BSA is what it's now called. Traditionally, it was the Boy Scouts of America. A little rebranding now. It's Scouts BSA. So they do have both genders in the troops nowadays. But back when I was younger, it was Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts separately.
Yes.
I mean, she talked about it earlier about how it was kind of nice being able to be kind of yourself, and in that age range, it was a lot easier to be yourself around all the other boys or the other girls,
Yes.
especially around that age when
Yes.
you start having that dynamic between boys and girls. So that was something that I and I think Sue agrees with me, kind of enjoyed having that kind of separate time, where you didn't have to worry about those social interactions or
Interesting.
um,
Are many girls coming into the Boy Scouts?
I don't have numbers, but
Yeah.
I've definitely seen. When we go to Rotary Camp, there are different gendered teenagers that help, like their CITs at Cub Scout Camp, like counselors in training or their assistants, definitely multi-genders. And who knows what it's like for them now. I know I felt comfortable in a group of girls, but scouting has changed, and so now it's all integrated. I think there's still Girl Scouts, but scouting BSA can be everything now. From what I saw at camp, though, it was great. They were getting along really well. It's a certain kid that stays in scouting into the teenage years. So I didn't sense a lot of, like putting on airs for each other, anything like that. It was just a group of really cool teenagers that I saw over the summer at their scouting camp.
That's interesting. How do you do that? So, because it sounded like earlier the beauty for both of you, and you just shared, Justin, was being with same sex. And it sounds, Susie, that you're now saying you're viewing that it looks like there's kind of still having the same amount of fun that you did. It's kind of hard to figure out because you were both talking about how hard it is in school with the mixed gender, and your scout experience, you were just with girls and boys. Now with Cub Scouts BSA, it's mixed. But so does that say something about the culture, the community?
I think it says something about the generation.
Oh, the generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just the culture of the 90s and early 2000s was very different from what it is now.
Now meaning boys and
Gender-wise.
all genders are more comfortable mixing with each other, and it isn't
Maybe.
the same sort of stuff that we went through.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't so much of that, the dichotomy between the two. When we were, younger, boys be boys, girls be girls, and, boys do certain things, girls do certain things. And, Sue touched on it, that, traditionally you'd think that, the Girl Scouts do the cookies and the baking and all that stuff. But, really, you could do anything, there aren't those traditional roles, as much anymore. So, being able to integrate them a little bit more now, especially with our generation coming up and just having a different worldview and,
That everybody can do
everything
everything.
can do everything. Yeah.
But there must still be a place for both groups of Scouts, BSA, which is all gendered, and Girl Scouts. So they're meeting different needs for different kids, it sounds like. Do you know?
I think it's still kind of an old view, and then, they were established organizations, for so many years. So who knows what it will eventually evolve into? There may be
Right.
some sort of collaboration or coming together of the two at some point. But they still both exist,
Right.
And cater to whatever views and if you want to be just a Girl Scout, you have a place to do that, Boy Scouts, I mean, probably in general, there are probably a lot more all-boy Scouts BSA groups, But again, because of that, the evolution of the culture and everything, we may be moving more towards
All gendered.
All gendered.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Really
and that's fine. I
interesting.
mean, it worked for us in our time.
context.
It worked
Yeah.
for you then.
Yeah. And I was just thinking like of the camps itself. I never went to Rotary until I had sons. I went to Ashoda and Little Notch. Those
Which
were our
were
Girl
for
Scout
girls?
Girl Scout camps. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Rotary is traditionally for boys, but now is all gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, so we have Cub Scouts through elementary, and then Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts are secondary and above. Middle school is secondary and above.
Yep,
Then you
and
decide
it's-
which way you want to go if you're going to continue on
Right.
into Scouts.
If you want to stay in it's not Boy Scouts anymore, it's Scouting BSA.
Oh, Scouting.
Or Girl Scouts.
Or
yeah.
Girl Scouts. Okay. So, now we have an interesting which way to go on our discussion, because Sue and Justin, you've had a history in the Scouts. Now you're leaders, and you two are Scouts.
Yeah.
And so, on the subject of connecting and building community, how does that work? Why don't we start with the grown-ups, mommy and daddy, that sense of connection and community for you as leaders?
Yeah, well, for me, as an adult leader, it's really meeting other parents of kids that I wouldn't have normally met. They're in a different school district. We meet in a more rural area. Our school is more towards the city, and the other school is more rural. So my kids are really meeting different types of friends that they might not have known otherwise. And I'm meeting parents of these kids that I might not have known otherwise. So it's fostered friendships. Like some of these other parents I've known now for how long have we done it? 4 years.
This is my 4th year. This is his 5th.
Yeah. Yep. And it's nice because as our kids get older, and we've been meeting, once or twice a month for years now. So it's definitely a nice sense of community and connection. Mom there, I knew since I was a kid. She was one of the neighborhood kids, and we reconnected as adults because of Scouts, So it's been really nice. They're both smaller communities, and now we have two that are coming together, two communities coming together. And it's definitely created a sense of belonging for me and connection with folks. So,
Both with the younger and with the adults. So
Yeah.
because you're in Cub Scouts, do the parents come and stay?
Yes.
Yes. And so does a parent or a guardian or whoever comes with the Cub Scout, do they sit with them and work with them on their badge?
Yeah.
Okay.
at Sam's age,
At Sam's age, okay.
once you get to be a tan shirt. Go ahead,
Oh,
give it to
different
Lucas.
colored shirt. Okay, for you listeners, Sam has on a navy blue shirt, and Lucas has on a tan shirt, as do Sue and Justin. So, age change, at some point, you'd go to a different colored shirt. And then are the parents, if your mom and dad weren't leaders, are your friends' parents there too to help them? Or at that point, you start to be a little more independent?
We are a little bit more independent. Some of the parents help out, but mostly our leader of the den helps out with us.
Okay, leader of the den. Okay. And so then, what are your roles? If Sam's group has parents with them, and Lucas's has kind of a leader, where do you two come in? in the community here?
Right. Well, Sue's the den leader, so she's been moving up every year with Sam.
Oh, you're the
So,
den leader
yeah,
for
so
Sam.
She
Okay.
leads that group.
I see. Okay.
And again, as they get up to Lucas's age, they're starting to transition into Scouts BSA, which I mentioned earlier that they're more Scout led. So they're kind of making that
More
transition.
inner-led.
Yeah, so they in Scouts BSA, just above Lucas's level, they'll start planning the meetings, the activities, that kind of thing. The parents are there, the leaders are there, just as an oversight, aspect of it. But that's what we're doing this year with Lucas in his group, is that we're transitioning his group to be able to kind of be more self-led, and be more responsible for their advancement and that kind of thing. So still
Interesting.
parent-led, but they're doing a little bit more independent stuff.
And where do you fit?
I'm a Cub Master, so
You're
we have
a
our
Cub
dens.
Master.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have our dens, our individual dens, and then we meet together as a pack. All of our dens together is called a pack. So my job is to lead pack meetings. We have one of those once a month. We'll do a pack meeting where everybody gets together, as a group, rather than meeting individually as your individual den. We come together and do an activity, or multiple activities. It's just something for the community to get together as a whole, and just learn some skills, or do some sort of group activity that helps us all again build that community.
So dens could be meeting in Melrose and Schaghticoke and Troy, but then once a month, all those different dens
All
come together.
at one location.
And
Yep.
you, as a Scout Master?
Cub Master,
right?
yep.
Cub Master, right, we're in Cubs, lead that gathering.
Yeah. And
So-
I'll plan the activities for that pack meeting, and kind of be a master of ceremonies for the entire thing. And we just have either plan. We do have one coming up where we have the Department of Environmental Conservation come and do a talk for the kids. Other times we'll just do like a craft making or a skill activity together.
So when we're talking about connection and community, so we're bringing together different dens at this point. Are you like in this, for our listeners alone, Sam, who is 8, you're in a different den than you, correct? Lucas,
Yes.
who is 10. So you're in the same room, same night, but different space in the room, or you're in different buildings? You're in different places?
We're in the same den. We're in the same
Building? Okay, different dens.
Where do we meet?
We usually meet like off in the back of the room, and we have like maybe 1 or 2 tables. They meet like in the front of the room.
Okay, different dens are in different places.
We meet like near the door or in the front, but near the front right corner.
Okay.
What type of building are we in?
Firehouse.
We're in a firehouse.
Firehouse.
Yeah, we meet
okay.
at a fire station.
Okay.
At a fire
So I know community is a big piece of Scouts. So then, when you meet as a pack, are you, the group that meets when you meet on Tuesday nights, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're all you little dens make a pack. So do you dens interact with each other in that community, in that firehouse, or do you just have your communities in your little dens?
We usually just have our dens talk to each other.
Talk to each other, hang out.
Yes.
It depends on the night. So
Yes.
so we meet the last week or the 4th week of the month, we meet as a pack. Everybody's together in the fire station. When we meet as dens, that's scattered throughout the month. So we're the first Tuesday.
Okay.
And there might be another den in there with us, but we meet separately in our little groups.
Got it.
So, but it's always in the firehouse unless there's some special thing. We've met at our house once. Sometimes Lucas's den leader is a grandpa of one of the kids in his dens. And sometimes they meet at his house because he has
a lot of land, and he also has like like fire pits, and we get to cook stuff there, and and there's like a bunch of woods around it, and we get to like practice building huts.
Oh, cool. So we're going to go to that next. I just needed to get a little clearer about how the communities were set up.
Yeah, and
So-
when the PAC meeting happens, we
Once a month?
Yeah, once a month. You know, I think part of my job is to integrate the den. So when we do have activities,
Okay.
I'll line them all up. Like the last time we had a PAC meeting, I lined them all up, and they all counted to 4 or 5, and then we had 4 or 5 groups of intermixed kids. You know, so they weren't all from, you know, one, and they were all working together.
Oh, they counted
in
1
an
to 4,
activity.
and all the ones sat,
All the ones
went
sat
together,
together.
all the 2s went together, all the
Yeah.
3s went together. So that was the way to go from your very comfy little community den to mix it up at the PAC meeting, which is once a month,
Right.
with somebody that you just got mixed up, you got connected to by a little number game.
Just randomly. Yeah.
And then did you have an activity that helps you kind of bond together with these people you never maybe even met or only met last month or 2 months ago?
Yeah, so I mean, we had activities, and it was Halloween, so it was Halloween themed.
Okay.
So we had a mummy, you know, rap activity, and we made catapults, and we shot those into a little bucket, and we all were on teams for that.
Yeah, the same teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, we made a little craft together, but it was done as a group, but, you know, we try to mix them up at that point so that we can, you know, get them all kind of working together and, you know, kind of outside of their den.
So is there something, I don't know, written down about having the sense of community in your little den, but also the sense of then coming together in a bigger community and meeting together as a bigger community? Is that sort of part of what you're after?
Yeah, I mean, the dens create an organization, you know, and in Cub Scouts, that's the way you advance, is by your age. So each year when you get 1 year older, you will advance to the next, you know, den in the same, you know, in the same order. But then we want to make sure that whole community gets together and, you know,
Of all
has
these different
age
ages,
groups, yeah. To do these activities together and collaborate and, you know, bring that sense of community impact together, rather than have them all separate.
Yeah, it's really astounding, actually, in our culture today, because it's so easy to just hang with who's like ourselves. You know, just hang with the same age, same sex maybe, and same things that we have in common. And you are consciously mixing and remixing all the time. And what do you see as the value of that?
Well, our kids are hanging out with different ages. He's getting guidance from older kids. Younger kids are making the older kids be silly again. You know, it's all mixed up, and it's nice, and it's a little forced socialization that makes them a little uncomfortable, but then they realize they can deal with that and have a good time.
So let's ask Sam and Lucas how that is for you. How to be in your comfy your comfy den, and then get mixed up at the end of the month in the pack, getting with people you might not even know. How does that feel for you? Okay or not okay? Sometimes both?
It feels good, and I get to bond with them.
Aw.
And I like make friends with these people, and we like play little games at the start. Maybe like they step activities, and we usually play like something like tag in the beginning of the pack meeting or den meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And we all get to kind of goof around.
And that fun goofing around just kind of helps you feel more comfy together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about for you, Sam? How does it feel when you go to the pack meeting and, oh boy, you're number 2, and then here's another number 2, I don't know him, and here's another number 2, and I don't know him either or her. How does that feel for you?
It's the same with me. I like to get together with people I don't know
Ah.
and make new friends.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so for you, that's not scary. It's an opportunity to make new friends. What an interesting perspective to have. And for some people, it would be scary, and that would be okay.
Yes.
For you, it's an opportunity to make new friends.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how about we'll stay with you, Sam and Lucas, about your leaders of your group. Because what Mommy shared with me was that sometimes a leader could be a parent of one of the kids in your den. Sometimes a leader doesn't have any children in the den, and sometimes a leader doesn't even have children, and they can be a den leader. So these are opportunities for grown-ups to be with children because they want to be with children. How's that, to have sometimes a leader that you don't know?
I haven't experienced that yet.
Because it's always been your mommy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But in Lions, it wasn't really like there was only one den leader. It was your parents were your den leader
Okay.
because you weren't really used to the people around you.
We took turns. The parents
Yeah.
took turns.
Ah, the parents took turns.
When they were
Okay.
5, yeah.
Okay, yeah, little ones. Okay, but you started to talk about your den leader being a grandpa. Does he have a grandson or granddaughter in your den?
Yeah.
Okay. And how's that to have a grandpa as your leader?
It's good because we get to like play around at his house because usually if you have like a grandson or something, they get like cool things and have like more space to play. So and we get to build stuff, cook stuff, and build huts, and I've had him for my whole entire experience with Cub Scouts.
Oh, okay. The leaders can move up with the group. Oh, okay.
And I've got to know him better, and I'm more comfortable around him now.
So do you feel connected to him?
Yeah, because we all like learn the same things, and we're all like on the same page. So, and I've moved up with mostly the same kids. the entire time.
What would be a different word than connected? How do you feel towards your scout leader?
I feel like I'm okay,
Comfortable?
comfortable.
Comfortable. Okay. I was using connected, but comfortable. That's what I was looking for, a word that would be more for you to use. Comfortable with him. Yeah. And to have a grandpa sort of person, too.
Yeah, and it's like fun to have a grandpa as it. Like I said, he's got a child, and he keeps moving up with us.
Keeps moving up with you. Yeah. Cool. So you boys took some notes. Is there anything on your notes that we haven't covered yet? You want to take a minute and look at your notes? And then maybe I'll talk to Mommy and Daddy for a couple minutes, and you can check your notes, you guys, and see if there's anything we missed so far. So, Sue and Justin, what would you like to add at this point for our listeners and our viewers that we might not have touched on?
I was just thinking, we talked about leaders not having to be parents, and definitely Scouts, Cub Scouts welcomes, adults who might have grown children or not have had children but are interested in scouting. We welcome people to come and join us and help out. There's volunteer opportunities. Most Scouts have to have, a treasurer to deal with the finances. And our treasurer, I've never even met because her kids have grown out of Scouts, but she still helps, Cub Scouts, but she still helps.
Interesting.
We have a committee chair who does the large majority of the work with calling places and organizing activities. And, while we're kind of the faces to the kids, she does all of the organizing. So there's different roles that you could help with, and being leader or being just a volunteer leader. When I was in Girl Scouts, my leader in high school was an older woman whose children were grown and adults, and she just still liked scouting. So she let us all take over her house, and we met at a church across the street from where my kids meet now. And our assistant leader had kids that also weren't in our troop at the time. So it's really for anybody. There's some training and, just vetting to go through before you can just hop right in, but I think it's worth it, and once people get into it, it can be a really worthwhile community connection to make.
For sure. Yes, for sure. Justin.
Well, I just thought about, we have a gentleman that comes out, every year, just as a recruiter. His sons are grown and moved on, and they haven't been in scouting for years, and he's an older gentleman, but he comes back to recruit because he knows the value, that the scouting experience, gave to him and his children. So it just brings some joy to see, the new generation coming up and being able to be involved, and it's still being, a relatively healthy, strong, community that's still, existing. But for me personally, being a leader was not my, I guess my first choice. It was kind of fell into it because our old Cub Master aged out with his son. So we had a void to fill, and I'm an Eagle Scout, and it just kind of felt like a natural thing for someone like me to fall into. But I tend to have a little bit of anxiety as far as planning activities and that kind of thing, because I want to make sure it's fun, fulfilling for the kids.
Of course.
So I do put a lot of pressure on myself, but I voice that to the kids that this is not comfortable for me as an adult. So this is out of my comfort zone, but you can do it. And it's not
great lesson.
It's not going to kill you. It'll make you stronger. And I do these activities and interact with the kids, and most of the kids are really great. You see some real gems in there that that are like, wow, these kids are really cool kids. That you have this opportunity to meet as an adult, and hopefully your kids are around them and interacting with them, and you get to see examples and be examples for the rest of the kids and adults around. So it's been really enjoyable, to come into it from a different perspective now as an adult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, did you have anything on your list, Lucas, that you wanted to share that you didn't yet so far?
We sometimes help at the food pantry.
Ah.
And we clean up the beaches of Grafton. Okay. And we help out and we do service projects and stuff like that.
And how does that feel to do those things?
I feel good to help out with the community, not just the Cub Scout community, our whole community, and help the earth and other people that are in need of this.
Oh, thank you for doing that. And Sam, do you have anything else you want to share that you haven't shared so far?
Not just about Scouts,
Okay.
but everywhere I go, I feel community.
Really? Want to say a little more about that for our listeners and our viewers? Everywhere you go, you feel, will you say it again?
Community.
You feel community. So, What's your definition of community?
I think community is like your town.
Okay.
Everyone that, like maybe your neighborhood
Okay.
could be your community.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that you know could be your community.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty big. So for you, when you wander around in the world, do you look around and say, this is my community? If you're at Grafton, cleaning up the beach, or at a food pantry, or your cub, every school, all those places are community for you.
Yes.
Interesting. How does it feel to have so many communities?
It feels good to have everyone being community to me.
Oh, well, that is really a nice place to end, unless you have something else you want to add. No? Okay. All right. Mommy had shared that you have two things that you say, a law and an oath. Do you want to do that? We don't have to do that if you want, or if you'd like, you can all say it together if you'd like.
You want to say it together?
Wait, the oath and
We'll do the oath, and then we'll do the law.
Or maybe two of us could do one of them, and another two could do the other.
We can all do it
Yeah, why don't we
together.
do it together, okay?
That was
We'll do the oath first, ready?
What do we
Mine.
do?
We'll do a scout sign. On
my
my honor, I will do my best to do my duty, to guide my country, and to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, and to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And the
Really
law,
nice.
right? A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Good job, guys.
Woohoo! Wow, thank you so much. This was really, really interesting. So I'm just going to say a few more things to our listeners and viewers. So if you would like some additional online support, do check out Project Unlonely. It's a website started by Dr. Jeremy Nobel. Lots of information there about connecting and community. They do some really awesome animated videos that really address sometimes our uncomfortableness with and feeling lonely and disconnected, and how to move into connection and community. Cannot say enough about that website. And if you found this podcast helpful, please do subscribe and share the link with others so that together we can support each other with our stories to help everyone have a sense of connection and community. Till next time.
Good job.